Hey guys, and welcome to my new channel called Black Media Review, where I want to do what? Review all media that is black. So I want to discuss books, TV shows, movies, podcasts, anything that is within the black culture and black media. I want to discuss it here on this channel. So in light of everything that's been going on in the world right now, I wanted to do my part to strengthen the movement and the black community. So I figured what better way to do that than to focus on all the positive, cultural, amazing things about our history, our community, and our story. So that's what I plan to do in this channel. So if you're interested in being immersed in the culture and learning something new about our history, then stay tuned to this channel. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, make sure you share this video so we can get the dialogue started, so we can get our knowledge and our history and our art up and we can appreciate it. I just want all of that for our story right now. So make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button because this is time to talk positive about our story. So like I mentioned, I do want to review TV shows, and I wanted to start off my first couple of videos with a couple of character stories based off of one of my favorite black TV shows out right now, Insecure. And I really just want to break down these characters to understand them a little bit better so we can see how we connect with them. Because I don't care who you are, there is at least one character in this story you can kind of see yourself into. And I'm going to let you know which one I really see in me coming out in this story, which is kind of crazy and kind of freaking me out. But I definitely want to break down these characters so we can understand like their motivations and see how it applies to us. And the character I want to focus on this video is one of the most hated right now since this season, which is Molly. And just break down why Molly really isn't as bad as we thought her to be, and why we really just need to understand the growth and the change that comes from being in a position that Molly's in or being like Molly. So let's get started. Before we break down like the full arc of her character over these seasons, let's talk about her love language, which I believe is quality time. Let me give you the definition for quality time. Quality time, as far as a love language, is defined as giving someone your undivided attention. That doesn't mean like sitting next to them and doing an activity like watching TV together. That's their full attention, being completely there with them, watching them, listening to them, hearing them, appreciating them. So that is Molly's love language. And you can see that throughout the seasons, that she does appreciate being heard. She likes being able to talk to Issa. She likes being heard by whoever she's dating, you know, all of that stuff. Now the problem is not that this is her love language. The problem is the way she interprets that language as far as how she acts towards other people. So Molly is selfish, she is controlling, she's argumentative, unforgiving, and of course, you know, insecure. That's the show. So when she's interpreting her love language of quality time, she's doing it selfishly. She only values her quality time. The attention that you give to her, she doesn't know how to give that back. And then at the same time, she's controlling because she wants it when she wants it, and that's it. She's not willing to let you pass this time because you have something else going on, and then, you know, get her quality time at another time. She wants her time right now. She's very argumentative. So if you bring up something that she's doing that's bothering you, she's going to combat you with it. She's going to fight you about it. And she's not going to be as understanding about how you're feeling, because rather than listening to you like she wants you to listen to her, she's already calculating and trying to figure out what her next response is going to be. Now, I mean, she's a lawyer, so that is a part of her nature, but you have to be able to determine the difference between when you're at work and this is your job, and when you're sitting across from a friend or a loved one and you're trying to hear them and have them hear you. You can't be waiting to get your argument across. You have to listen just like you want them to listen to you. And if she feels like you're not hearing her, if she feels like you're not giving her the response she likes, then she becomes unforgiving. And you see this very much with the way she acts towards her dad, the way she acts towards Issa, the way she acts towards Andrew and his brother. So think about her friendship with Issa and a specific moment where she was unforgiving. With the situation with Andrew and the block party, you know, after seeing all the hard work and everything that Issa put together, she still couldn't let go of the fact that Issa ended up having to ask Andrew for help getting the artist. Now, mind you, Molly's problem with the whole situation is that Molly herself didn't want to go to Andrew and ask him because she didn't want to make it seem like she needed or wanted to use him in the relationship. She wanted to be able to build the relationship without involving, you know, asking him for favors at this point since it was so new. That's understandable. She was totally right with feeling the way she felt and wanting Issa to understand that. But my whole thing was, Issa didn't go through Molly. Issa had a conversation with Nate, and Nathan decided he wanted to help her and speak with Andrew. Mind you, Molly wouldn't even know Andrew if it wasn't for Issa and Nathan having a relationship. So the fact that she got upset that a conversation between her and Nathan, Issa and Nathan, ended up involving Andrew was ridiculous. But instead of just seeing how well it all turned out, instead of just waiting until there was a proper moment to confront Issa about it, she went right then and there, again, controlling and selfish because it's about her, it's about what she wanted, it's about what she needed. And she confronted Issa in the middle of her block party. She was unforgiving. She didn't want to work out the situation later on. She didn't want to call her. She didn't even want to bring it up when Issa did call her. So that's the problem with the way she expressed, one of the ways she expressed her love language. And then you take the same thing with Andrew and Victor. When there was an issue between Andrew and Victor and Molly about, you know, just race and just having that uncomfortable conversation. Mind you, everybody in that situation was wrong because they weren't hearing each other. But Victor at least was willing to apologize and start brand new and getting to know her and getting to understand where she was coming from. But Molly was just completely unforgiving of it. She wasn't going to back down. She wasn't going to apologize for her part. She didn't want to do it because it made her feel uncomfortable. Mind you, it didn't even matter that, you know, Andrew was feeling uncomfortable because his brother is somebody who's very important to him, and he did not want to have this separation between two people he cared about, which he had every right to want a solution to this situation. But again, it wasn't what Molly wanted, so she wasn't willing to compromise. She wasn't willing to let go of her control of her selfishness and do something for someone else, even somebody she cared about. And now, while we're on the subject of Andrew, I do want to talk a little bit about their actual relationship, because the issue with Molly and Andrew's relationship from the beginning is, towards the middle of it, you can tell that they were doing it for all the wrong reasons. The attraction was initially there, and you can definitely see that when they first met and as they started to as they started to date and just spend time with each other, you can completely tell they liked each other. But then somewhere down the middle, you can see Andrew just letting her win every argument, or just not bringing stuff up because he was worried about offending her and different things like that. You can see him sinking into himself and not being his true self in that relationship. And you can see Molly growing. You can see her making changes and trying a little bit more, but she still has so much further to go. She didn't know how to include Andrew into her life when it came to work. She didn't know how to compromise. She didn't know how to share. She didn't know how to do things she didn't want to do for him, like he was doing things he didn't necessarily want to do for her. And whenever he didn't meet her expectation, again, she was unforgiving about it. She couldn't let it go. So in that sense, the relationship was actually very toxic because the two people involved were not happy. The biggest reason why they were trying to stay together is because neither one of them have had a long-term relationship. So they wanted to prove that they can do it. And you see this on both ends. You see Molly wanting to prove that she can maintain a relationship, and you see Andrew wanting to prove that he can. Even his brother Victor brings up the fact that, wow, you were able to hold on to him this long? That never happens, you know, because that's something he was never really able to do, and that's why they try so hard to keep the relationship. But you can see the happiness and the joy draining out of that relationship because neither one of them was being their true selves or recognizing what needed to be worked on in Molly's case. So then let me ask you a question. Does that make Molly a bad person? And does she deserve the hate that the world has definitely been giving her since season 4? And my answer to that is no. Molly is someone that worked really hard to be a powerful, strong Black woman, attorney, just all these things. She focuses a lot on status and stature. And she worked really hard to maintain that for herself. She is a very caring and loving person. You can see that when she does little things for Issa, like she does buy her food a lot, and she did stop her whole world a couple times to take Issa somewhere to do something for Issa, like at the party in season 1 for interfering and getting Daniel out of the way, or thinking she was helping Issa with Nathan when he ghosted her. Like, she really does care. So it's not that she's a bad person who just doesn't care about the people that she loves. It's just that she doesn't know how to be vulnerable and be empathetic towards the people she loves. She doesn't know how to stop, listen, and really take in what matters to them as much as she wants them to take in what matters to her. Also, I think a lot of people don't like or hate on Molly because they see themselves in Molly. Because for me personally, I can honestly say that I have been Molly at some point in my life, especially when I was younger. And it was just all about me, and I was selfish. So when I would get into these relationships, I would be focused more on me, and I wouldn't be willing to compromise. I didn't care to hear what you had to say. I was already thinking about, my next response versus, what you were actually saying, taking that in and really feeling what you're saying. Of course, I have grown out of that, and of course, Molly will too. And I think the thing is that nobody ever actually challenged Molly on these things beforehand. See, the thing about Issa, and we're going to talk about her development next video, is that Issa always needed Molly. So because she needed Molly in those moments, she was willing to give her all the attention and all the quality time that Molly needed. And Molly decided, okay, well, since she's going to give me that quality time, I'm okay with doing stuff for her. But then the problem between that friendship dynamic was that Molly was somebody who kept tally marks. She kept score. So anytime she would pay for something for Issa, or she would do a favor for Issa, she's keeping score. And she's like, okay, so now when I want quality time, you have to give it to me right when I want it, because look at all these things I did for you. So at the same time she was enabling Issa, she was also building up her scorecard to be able to call on Issa whenever she needed her. And that's what made that friendship so hard, because when Issa decided to start doing something for herself and maybe didn't need Molly as much, she wasn't there for Molly as much either as far as quality time goes. And that makes her feel like, she's being left out or pushed to the side, or that Issa doesn't care. And all she can think about in her mind is, think of all these things I've done for you already, and you can't show up for me for this, this, and this, and this. So that was what ended up putting a strain on their friendship. But then again, Molly isn't a bad person. She really just needs to learn how to be the type of person that she wants other people to be to her. She really needs to learn how to be better at showing affection, at hearing her friends, at talking about her issues and her problems, and at letting things go, so that she's not holding on to something that's so small that's keeping her from being happy and keeping the people around her from being happy. So what can we learn from Molly? Well, like I mentioned before, I have been Molly once before myself, and being uncompromising and being selfish left me in the same position that it left Molly, alone. And nobody, of course, wants to end up in a place where they've cut everybody off because they were so focused on only getting what mattered to them. Again, she's not a horrible person, but she is a flawed person who is starting to confront her flaws head on.
And by going to therapy and by speaking to Issa by the end of season 4, she's really starting to accept the fact that change needs to come from within. That maybe if everybody you meet keeps running away from you, it's not just them who have the issue, it's you as well. There's something wrong with you that you need to confront about yourself. And the people who truly love you, like I know Issa does, will be willing to do those things with you, will be willing to go through those things with you. But you have to understand that it's not all about you. So when Issa is going through her situations, or when Issa needs a friend, it's not for you to just be there just so you can get the quality time you need, but to also give your friend the support and the love that she needs. And the same thing with any relationship that you get into. I do not think we have seen the last of Molly and Andrew, but I definitely think they need to take a break. I think Molly needs to reevaluate herself, and I think Andrew needs to reevaluate himself, because he too has some things that he needs to work on. He's not very open. There's definitely a need for improvement on his end. So right now you have two broken people trying to make a relationship work. What I think you need is two people to go off, become whole, and maybe somewhere in the middle they might find each other and be able to make the relationship work at that time. So here is my question to you guys. Do you know a Molly, or are you yourself a Molly? Do you think that we will see major character growth with Molly in season 5? And do you think Molly and Andrew's relationship is over? Or do you think that there might be a chance for them somewhere in the future if she does find some growth in season 5? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you guys next video.